Hey everybody, this is Papa Wiggs here from Fantasy Fools. I'm here with Wiggs. We've got Ryan and Ethan with us as well. We're going to do a mock draft today. It's a 12-man team PPR draft with the starting lineup being a 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, a defense, and a kicker. We're going to have a 16-round draft. So that means we'll be drafting our bench players as well. As soon as we're done with the draft, we'll kind of break down, what we were thinking with our picks, in regards to why we chose them and stuff like that. And during the draft, you'll probably hear some trash talking. So, because most of these guys are sad because Papa Wiggs is right and they're wrong. So, anyways. Wiggs, if you want to go ahead and start the draft, we can get going.
All right. Draft has started.
All right. I mean, like, all right, I'll take CD 4.
Who am I left with here?
Some weird auto picks.
Justin Jefferson at 107. Absolute gift.
Like Tyreek and Bijan.
You tell me Chase goes at 108.
Jeez.
Brees Hall. Didn't work out too well for him last year.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at the auto picks.
Chris Olave goes ahead of Drake London. That's a hot take right
And
there.
Devontae Adams too, dude.
It's a hot take.
If you don't take Devontae Adams here, you might be faded. JJ and Adams. Interesting. There's no way. Laporta, okay.
Feels like a hefty reach. I mean, like, Devontae Adams is sitting right there, right? But I'll take A-Chan.
Jacobs and Henry. That's kind of nuts. And Tyreek, bro. Hold up.
Nico Collins.
I think Nico Collins is going too early there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, all of you guys lost already.
This is such a tough area because I mean, like Diggs, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, and Debo, like they're all like around the same to me in my eyes. I'll still rock with Diggs.
Diggs over Mike Evans.
First QB off the board, and 2 tight ends off the board already.
That's so interesting. Wow.
What's the old man gonna do here?
It's probably another receiver knowing the way he drafts.
I'm still not sure.
Right now. Interesting.
And then another QB comes off the board.
Interesting. Okay.
Two running backs for Rye early, with Devontae Adams as his anchor receiver. Very interesting. Wow. Shot White comes off early. I don't know why Neighbors is coming off so early. I don't get that.
You know, I'm torn right here between taking Stroud.
You're gonna take Stroud over Patty Mahomes.
Why would you take CJ Stroud here? A pocket passer. Like, yeah, he's gonna throw for a lot of yards, but like
A lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns with his weapons. Like,
side.
Another thing about your guys' rankings is you have Patty Mahomes way too low.
Get that.
He has more weapons than he did last year.
What are you doing? Like, what are we thinking here? Are we using our heads? Like when you have Patrick Mahomes there. But hey, different strokes for different folks, you know?
I mean, he's likely going to have one of his bigger weapons out for 12 weeks, so.
Yeah, but he didn't have any weapons last year and he was totally fine.
Yeah, he was fine. He was a top 10 quarterback last year.
Yeah.
Patty Mahomes is Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. And still with Kelsey.
Yeah, he might have Hollywood Brown, but like Brown's only had like 1 or 2 like good years in fantasy with Lamar.
Wow.
There's no way you took James Cook. Wait, what?
James Cook.
That might be a hot take.
This feels pretty easy for me here. Devontae Smith just gets handed into my lap there.
Not gonna lie, I
I mean,
wish we were redrafted in our league, bro. I'd already like this team more than my current one.
That's because your current team sucks, so we're just...
It does. I don't disagree with that.
But I mean, like, I already have the best wide receiver core out of every team. Even Team 10 has 4 wide receivers, and mine are all still better.
You
Tough
got
spot to ride.
Cowboys are, yeah, you can have them.
This is just like playing perfect for me here. He takes Kamara. Like, this is just sitting so perfectly for me. I honestly
You
didn't
clown.
think. Yeah,
You
yeah. I
took
know.
my
Yeah,
tight end.
your tight end. Yeah, because you're really high on him.
That's
Yeah.
all right. I'll substitute him with the best tight end in the league.
What?
It's not even top 3.
What are we saying here? George Pickens. Hey, Rich goes off the board. What are we thinking here? We gotta take a running back here, right? All the tight ends are gone, so you gotta wait on tight end. You got a million receivers. Brees Hall.
Yeah, no, this one's tough. I don't really like my 2 running back options right now, or my 3. But screw it.
DeAndre Swift. Najee Harris goes off too. You don't have to wait around on this pick. You can just like pick Addison and call it a day.
I normally would say, yeah, maybe, but I don't know that I want Jefferson and Addison on the same. I kind of like this pick right here.
You don't. Like, stop behind the people, man.
Nah, E-Raid. He's got faith in McLaurin, trust.
Everyone's had faith in him for the past 10 years. Oh,
Nah,
quarterbacks,
dude, he thinks highly of Daniels. He thinks McLaurin and Daniels are gonna have a great year together.
like I'm sure he's gonna be fine. He's gonna put like 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns and be the wide receiver 28 like he is every year. Like yes,
He's
he's
going to
gonna
have a better year than your second wide receiver, E-Raid. Diggs is not going to even touch him.
Anyways, moving on.
E-Raid, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that's one of his first two picks right there is McLaurin.
Everyone's laughing. Uh, I'll take some dice here.
Jesus,
I like it.
Ryan's running back crew, bro. Those three running backs put up points.
Evan Ingram. Brown. Oh, Stevenson fell to me. I don't love Stevenson this year, but I don't hate him either.
Could go Pollard.
I don't like Pollard this year in the slightest. And why are we taking Austin Eckler like this high? Like this just can't be real life.
I think that's just the CPU, you know. Like,
yeah.
I don't think either Washington running back will go prior to like the 10th round, to be honest. I mean, it'll be different in our draft, but geez, running back. Holy shit.
Well, a running back run there. Does everyone have a quarterback? Everyone but Rise got a quarterback? Almost everyone but Rise got a quarterback. Everyone but Rise quarterback.
Nick Chubb.
I have no idea what his outlook is going to be this year. I haven't even heard any sort of chatter around him. Is he do we even know if he's going to be healthy this year?
I hope.
I hope so too.
All I know is whoever drafts him is taking a chance, no matter what round it is. I mean, I think in this draft, him going in the 8th round is perfect, but
yeah, I don't know.
But as for the CPU picking that as their RB1,
yeah, what are we doing here?
when they picked 5 receivers right away, they missed out on Aaron Jones and a few others.
You're going for a hero RB type thing where you got one stud, or wide, filling in holes later. I like taking a risk, but also Jordan Brooks don't understand the whole hype around that. Are we just acting like Chuba Hubbard is just gonna go away?
Even someone like Miles Sanders, who had a terrible year last year, is still going to be in the mix too. So
I don't really get the whole hype around that. But who knows? Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I knew that one was coming. You're getting a predictable old man.
Lab McConkey.
If you guys can't tell, McLaurin and White. You want them, snag them before the old man.
Oh, we are doing a kicker defense.
With only having 2 running backs and having a pretty set wide receiver core, I don't hate Javonte Williams as my RB3.
Interesting.
That's an RB3. I wouldn't want. I'd rather go with Eckler at that point. Or Robinson.
He's going to be a starting running back on a...
I only say that because I don't even know he's going to be on the Broncos.
Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be?
Just saying.
They're not going to cut him.
Just saying.
It's good insight right there.
You all might hate this pick. Sleeper of the draft. I have the best team after this pick.
I don't think that's a terrible pick.
I don't hate the pick because I think he's going to be good if he stays healthy.
He could be the wide receiver one if he stays healthy on that team. Oh shit, and you got Williams too.
Like,
You know, this is not typically the way my dad would be drafting right now. I'm not gonna lie.
you know, like do it just because I know Bob really
We're
wants
seeing
to.
3 running backs. Like, come on.
Yeah, you did that to me last year too, Ethan.
And like, but like, what is this that he's like the best running back in the division? Like, are we serious? Like, that's just it's just not true. He's not the best running back in the AFC North.
Who's
Also,
the
like
best running back?
this team
Who's the best
5,
running back, Ethan? What?
Derrick Henry.
I'm
Derrick
saying
Henry?
team 5 is realistically not picking Purdy and Mahomes.
Oh yeah, yeah, like that's dumb. But yes, it's Derrick Henry, and it's not even close.
Wait, what? Who are we comparing?
There's got to be
He-
a quarterback pick, right?
in the AFC North.
You keep living the dream there.
Who are we comparing it to?
Bob says Jalen Warren's the best running back in the AFC North over Derrick Henry, um, Najee Harris, Zach Moss,
A healthy Nick Chubb.
healthy Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford.
Yeah, you're on crack, dude. He might be top 5.
Like,
Chase Brown is a
And
comparison.
let's
to
be real.
Jalen.
Are they going to use Warren as much as they did last year?
No,
'Cause
they're going
don't
to
they
use
have a new
Justin
coach?
Fields instead.
They're going to use
Yeah.
Justin Fields here,
Right.
bro. Yeah.
Good year. And then we're picking Jared Goff. Like,
I actually don't hate that pick.
He's standing by his rankings.
Tajay Spears. I like Tajay Spears. That'll be like a straight 50-50 split with Pollard and Spears.
Damn, that was going to be my next pick.
You rob off the board. Ferguson and Hawkinson in a redraft setting. I don't like, or like I don't mind taking a stab at Hawkinson late, especially if you don't draft like a top tier tight end.
I mean, Ferguson still should have a pretty good year. It's just, I don't know if I
Yeah,
could pass
100%.
on Hawkinson there.
Yeah, I mean, um, just like depending on when he comes back. Like, I mean, he's gonna be great when he comes back.
Yeah. Don't know who the hell to pick here.
Chase Brown, not believing in the Zach Moss train.
CPU took Robinson from me. That was gonna be my pick.
All right, Bob. What's the thought process here?
Mm,
Try to savor whatever you can out of this terrible team. Get it.
oh, yeah, man.
Struggling over there.
Fall on a reach on Romeo Dobbs.
So the problem with like the Packers wide receivers is like I don't know who the heck is gonna be like the guy on that offense this year.
I mean, like, there's 5 of them between like Wicks, Dubs, Watson, uh,
Reed.
Jaden Reed. I mean, there's 4. Mix in both tight ends.
Like the
And
Packers
Josh,
and the Texans, dude, are hard. You have so many weapons on like both those teams. I hate picking receivers from those type of rosters because it's just
it's
annoying.
tough.
Like if you pick the wrong guy, then you just screwed yourself. But if you pick the right guy, you look like a genius.
100%. Oh, what are we looking at here? You
There's got to
know,
be a receiver pick here. What's even out there right now?
does look like it has to be a receiver pick here, huh?
Good pick.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that.
I'm actually kicking myself. I think I should have picked him over Dobbs, but I got a good feeling about Dobbs.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I don't know if it's gonna be great, but it'll be good. Jameson
Good
Williams,
pick.
8.
Or
Eh,
that's a good pick.
JMO. Oh, he did it.
ugh.
Steal Jerry Judy out from underneath me. That's all right. I'll be fine with Mike Williams. I also don't understand why Mike Williams is falling super late when he's going to be healthy to start week 1. He's the
It's
clear
just a
cut.
matter of staying healthy.
Yeah. I just think the Jets are going to be kind of a lot of just like ground and pound through Brees Hall.
I
Yeah, I'm
think
perfectly
draft's gonna
fine with
be.
that.
I think draft's gonna be interesting this year because I feel like some people might go up based off what sleeper rankings are. Like Adam Thielen is still on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Probably shouldn't have said that until after my
no,
bad
he's on
pick.
the board though because Deontay moved over there. Like,
And they drafted Xavier Legette too.
so he's gonna be taking a backseat to at least one, if not two guys.
But Thielen's still the wide receiver too.
Yeah. It's just like drafting Legette too. There's the potential that he could fall to number 3. Do I think it'll happen? Who knows?
And he's really thinking we're getting a full forehead cam there. Kirko Chains?
What are we doing? What are we doing here? Is it high on the Atlanta Falcons this year? I guess. I feel like you could have just like waited like 1 or 2 or 3 rounds before that happened.
100%.
I feel like that was just a reach. Like
It was a
a lot of
reach.
teams have 2 quarterbacks. Jerome Ford. I like the Jerome Ford pick there. I feel like he could be solid. I feel like people are just kind of forgetting about the Browns backfield. Like a lot of question marks with Chubb and like Ford, obviously.
The only problem I have with picking up Ford is like, didn't they just sign Deontay Foreman?
Did they?
I think they did. I think that's their backup guy until Chubb's back.
I guess, yeah. Technically, he's listed. Ford's listed ahead of him on the depth chart, but who knows? It's tough. I like Chuba this year. Got some faith.
Damn, I wish we were redrafting. Holy shit. Be happy with this team compared to what I got.
What are we thinking here, Bob? Another quarterback?
Knowing him, it's probably defense or some shit.
Is the vision a little tough, or we gotta upgrade those prescription on those glasses, or what?
Oh shit. He's going down the board, bro. He's gonna be taking a receiver. It's probably gonna be like. Oh, actually, I don't even know. Johan Dotson. No, he's already got McLaurin, doesn't he?
I'll have catch.
Chandler. That might be a hot take.
I'll take Josh Palmer. Herbert's got to throw to somebody, and he's the only vetted guy there. Ladd's there, and Ladd will be fine. But I still think Palmer will be good. He should eat up some targets.
That CPU in the one spot, dude. 6 running
Yes.
backs.
I'll take Kendra. I like Kendra Miller.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Luke McCaffrey. We're just like, or like the Commanders just like winning the Super Bowl this year, or like is Jaden Daniels behind plumbers and firemen of an offensive line gonna just like throw for 5,000 yards? When he can't stay on his feet and they're going 3 and out every other possession. A-Rod. Darnell Mooney. Oh, I don't mind that at all. And so we took McCaffrey over Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're taking the 49ers defense early. All right.
I wouldn't say it's that early. It is the last 3 rounds.
I'll take the QB 10 last year as my backup quarterback. Fine by me. Young Hoku. Respect that man.
Mm.
Dallas Cowboys defense, man. I want to talk about how to win games. You just want to like pick Kadarius Toney now, or wait till you're like there's 2 seconds left on your pick, or
I mean, maybe we can see something through that forehead, but
Ricky Parcells.
why is he going that far down on the board? That's interesting.
I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess.
And I still got my kicker, but
You guys may say Malik Neighbors. I say Wandale Robinson, baby. That's the answer to the organization.
That's how the Bills get paid right there.
wow, that might be a little bit of a hot take, but
All right.
Appreciate for gifting me the best team.
Interesting draft.
start with round
Well-
one and talk about it, or
Yeah, we can go through round one.
round one, Ryan. I feel like we don't need much explanation, but if you really want to elaborate,
Elaborate about my picks.
yeah,
No,
Just
round one.
Oh,
I
took
think,
Christian McCaffrey
yeah,
because he's the best running back in the league.
best fantasy scorer too.
I'll be honest, I'm really surprised Tyreek was their number one auto pick.
Yeah, typically it's either Lamb or McCaffrey.
Yeah, and then like B. John.
Would you have gone Lamb if McCaffrey, or would you have gone Lamb or Tyreek if McCaffrey went first?
Would I have?
Yeah.
I would have went CD Lamb.
Yeah.
Or Jamar.
Yeah. I mean, Jamar also falling to 8 is kind of crazy. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, I mean, like, I took him first. I mean, he was the wide receiver one last year. He's going to be great again this year. But, like, barring injury, he's going to finish in the top 5. So it just felt like a no-brainer. What was crazy to
You
me
can have
was
them.
AJ. Yeah, okay. We're not going to take in your cowboy hatred to this. Was, AJ Brown and Amon Ra going ahead of Jefferson and Chase. That felt kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say above Chase maybe. I don't know about the
Yeah,
Jefferson one because the
Like,
Jefferson one's hard to judge with the quarterback situation, and
I can understand being shy on Jefferson, but AJ Brown, I feel like Chase is kind of like a tier ahead of Brown and St. Brown.
I think that's fair to say.
So why go with JJ instead of Chase, Bob?
So I went with JJ because it's JJ. I mean, I think you said it earlier, Ethan, with one of your receivers. They got to throw to somebody. And Jefferson's still going to get a lot of targets this year. He's going to be an active part of their game planning. So, and to me, he's a better receiver than Chase.
Yeah, and me, like I'm
That's
probably
just
higher.
my opinion. I'll be honest. I'm surprised. I'm surprised AJ Brown went as high as he did. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge AJ Brown fan, but I'm surprised. Just given some of the things that happened in Philadelphia last year. So, so for Jefferson to drop down to number 7 was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
And with the Eagles bringing in Saquon too.
I would have chose Amon-Ra, JJ, and Jamar before I chose AJ Brown.
Anyways, then Brees Hall to Brandon.
I think Brees Hall's just gonna be Brees Hall again this year with Aaron Rodgers. He's just gonna get a lot of receptions, and he really just doesn't have any competition in the backfield. I think he's like one of 3 running backs I'd take in like the first round. The other 2
And
are
ahead
already
of
taken.
who else is sitting there?
Brees,
Like,
Aaron Rodgers makes his running backs better. And so Brees Hall, if he stays healthy and Rodgers stays healthy, I think Brees Hall is he's gonna be a top 3 running back. That's just my opinion.
And if you look at the team too, like if Mike Williams isn't staying healthy himself, that's just gonna open it up more for Hall. And
yeah, and I mean, like looking at your other options ahead of Puka, Barkley, or Gibbs, I mean, I think Brees Hall is kind of clear cut the best like option there.
like Puka wouldn't have been a bad one. It's just
I
the whole competitive thing with their offense.
Like, I feel like Cooper Kupp gets a little disrespected. Like last year, he played entirely injured, basically the whole year. And it was basically a 50-50 split. Like Puka had a little bit of advantage, like in points per game and targets, but it was closer to 50-50 than like people made it out to be. So I guess
Kupp's
I'm not.
old.
Yeah, so's Tyreek.
Like,
Yeah, but Tyreek's a much better wide receiver.
yeah, but I mean Tua and Stafford, and then the Sean McVay system, Kupp and Stafford and the Sean McVay system. I think Kupp's still gonna be just fine.
I mean, I think Kupp's
Especially,
good. I think he's overrated at times though. He's only had like realistically like 2 or 3 standout years in fantasy.
yeah, but how many? What else do you need? Like,
I mean,
Consistency.
yeah, consistency from an old man like Tyreek, like that's.
well, yeah, and I mean Tyreek's obviously like an exception to every rule, but like,
But even like Mike Evans and Keenan Allen, like
So let's hit round 2. I see Brandon, you took Olave. What was your thinking there?
honestly, I think he's just a really good wide receiver, and the quarterbacks have to throw to someone in that offense, and he's the clear-cut one guy there. I was debating on him or Adams, but I just don't know like which quarterback's going to be starting there for the Raiders, and then if Myers will chip away at Adams' production at all. Because I think Jacoby Myers is like a really good receiver, and you don't really have like a solid second there on the Saints. Like you have Shaheed, but that's really it. Well, you
Yeah.
got Kamara too, but
I'll be honest. I'm really surprised that Williams and Wilson fell into the second round.
why?
Because I think both of those guys are first round picks.
I was hoping either one of them would drop to me too. Like,
Yeah.
I personally I think Barkley going in the first round
is nuts.
is crazy. I think Jamar Gibbs going in the first round, you can argue it, but the Lions are paying Montgomery a lot of money. and he's going to be actively involved.
Was he not last?
So what was that?
Like Montgomery was active last year, and Gibbs was still elite.
I mean, he was elite once Monty got hurt, and they never like fully went back to utilizing
When
Montgomery after
Montgomery
that.
wasn't hurt, Gibbs was not as active in the offense.
Well, yeah, that was also at the beginning of the year when he was a rookie, and like his first few games
I'm
in the
just
NFL.
saying, Garrett Wilson falling to the second round is crazy to me.
Especially
And
with
Green falling to the second round, that was crazy. Though to me, those should have been flipped. That's just my opinion. Again, I don't think Barkley's a first round pick.
I don't think Gibbs is either. I think he's second round at best, personally.
Fair enough.
Just like
Brandon Ayuk.
A-Chain, I think is probably in the same
I
boat.
know people are going to question my Ayuk pick, but here's the thing. The reason I went with Ayuk is because I don't think he's going to sign to a contract extension this year. Ayuk did have 1,300 yards last year. He's going to be playing for a contract this year, and I'm a huge fan of Debo, but I think that the way that Shanahan uses Debo opens him up for more injury opportunities because of how he uses them in the running game. So I think that that's going to open it up, for more targets in receiving for Ayuk. And I just think he's playing for a contract, and I think he's going to come out and he's going to have a big year. And I know that that there was other options like Devontae Adams and stuff like that. And I get it. Devontae is a great receiver. I just feel like Ayuk's going to have a better year. There's a little bit more stability at their quarterback position than there is with the Raiders, and so to me, it just made sense to go with Ayuk. And I like the idea of having him with Jefferson.
Yeah, I think Ayuk is like I would have taken Ayuk over Devontae Adams as well, and basically like that's if I was in your spot, I would have picked that too. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
I disagree. Devontae Adams is a better route runner than Ayuk. I agree that you don't think Devontae Adams is a better route runner. Devontae Adams is one of the best route runners in the league.
So is Ayuk. Like, I think they're like both like in like the upper echelon of it. And I don't think it's like I think
Ayuk has more. I think Ayuk has more potential, but I think Devontae Adams has proved it enough that he is definitely a top 5 route runner in the league. Not saying he's a top 5 receiver, but he's a top 5 route runner.
I think Devontae Adams is gonna have his like big games where he goes like 8 for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I also feel like there's just gonna be games where he just goes like 4 for 45 yards slowly into the night because the Raiders go 3 and out every drive, and like it's just.
I think the same can be said for Ayuk though, especially with how many different weapons they have on that offense. Like he's not only like he's battling for like targets with McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo. Like there's so much going on in that offense where it could just lead to some inconsistencies. And we've only seen like one of his first few years here like be productive.
And I mean that's why.
Listen, that's not fair though, because every receiver that's drafted typically doesn't have a great rookie year. Let's be honest. The receiver position, for especially early round picks, they typically, it takes them a little bit longer to adjust to the systems and stuff. It's not very common for a rookie receiver to come out guns ablazing and having a great year. And I think the more weapons you have actually opens it up more for a receiver, because that prevents them from double teaming, triple teaming them, and that's going to give him the opportunity to shine with their route running, their ability, and getting open. So I agree with Ryan though that Devontae Adams is a great route runner. And like I said though, I'm just not I'm just not sold on their quarterback situation. And yes, I get it. It's Devontae Adams, but Ayuk is playing for a contract this year, and I just think the guy's, yeah, he's just gonna eat up anything that's catchable, anything that's thrown to him that's catchable. Plus, he's got a connection with Purdy, so I think Ayuk is, again, not taking anything away from Adams. I just think it's a better situation.
I agree with that.
What I am surprised at is that Travis Kelce went in the second round, because Travis Kelce to me is not a second round pick this year. You can say what you want about him. Yeah, he's a great tight end, whatever. Um, I, I'm just not a huge Kelsey fan. I think he's old. He's going to be 35 this year, I believe. Maybe be turning 30. I think he's turning 35 this year. He's getting up there in age. He didn't look that great in the season last year. It wasn't until the playoffs that he started getting more involved. So I think there's a lot of other tight ends that are going to have a way better season than Travis Kelce this year.
I totally get why people use age as an excuse, but for redraft leagues, age does not matter when it comes to drafting your team. Patty Mahomes is still the best QB in the league. Kelsey and the Chiefs are still going to be the top team in the league. That's also why I picked Hollywood Brown. But I would also say that the Raiders QB situation is just like the Vikings situation with Jefferson. I actually think their QB situation is better. I think Aiden O'Connell right now has more of a chance to start the year, but I'm also very high on Gardner Minshew. I think he's kind of slept on. And I think by the end of the year, Gardner Minshew will be the starting QB. And there's no way Devontae Adams has a worse year than he did last year, and he was still one of the top receivers. So that's why I chose Devontae. And then going into the third round, I'm kind of glad that ETN dropped me. I'm not fully sold on Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. I still think they're going to be great, but ETN still had 1,000 yards last year. He was him and McCaffrey were the top running backs at the beginning of the year, last year, and I think for the Jaguars to produce, they're going to need ETN to do exactly what he did the first 6 games of last year.
I don't disagree with you, Ryan. I think ETN there was he's definitely to me higher than Jacobs and Henry. I think people are putting weight. Don't get me wrong, Henry is a great running back, but he's gone to the Ravens, and I get it. The Ravens like to run the ball, right? But Henry is going to be, the Ravens like to rotate between multiple running backs. That's what's going to happen to Henry this year. He is not going to have the season that everybody thinks he's going to have. I'm not saying Derrick Henry might not score touchdowns. What I'm saying is that yeah, he might score touchdowns, but I'm just saying that I don't feel that Derrick Henry is going to be as productive as he has been in years past, and I think that there's a lot better options at running back from a consistency perspective.
Anyways, moving on after Bob's little yapping session. I want to talk a little bit to his saying that like not many rookie receivers do good. What? Puka, Justin Jefferson,
Jordan
great rookie year.
Addison last year had a good year.
Did Justin Jefferson have over 1,000 yards his rookie season?
Let me look it up. I don't know exactly.
No, I don't think he did.
Who didn't?
Yes, he did.
Did he have over 1,000 yards?
Who did? Who didn't?
Listen, this is what I meant by that, Ethan. Puka was an anomaly last year. Okay, that's not typically what happens with rookie receivers.
Chase did the same thing 2 years prior.
I'm just saying, dude.
St. Brown had an amazing.
I'm not talking about the last couple of years. I'm talking within the history of the draft in the NFL. That's typically not what happens with wide receivers.
Back when Barry Sanders was running for 1,000 yards, like receivers weren't like catching a bunch of passes, but times have changed.
I'm just saying, dude.
Zay Flowers had a good rookie year. Olave had 1,000 yards his rookie year. Anyways,
I'm just saying, dude.
We leapfrogged my Achane pick in the second round. He's gonna freaking explode this year. He's like lightning in a bottle, and he's gonna score 1 million touchdowns and catch a bunch of passes. And like the only like concern is that Mostert's still there, which is a valid concern. But I feel like it's gonna kind of be flip flop. Like Achane's gonna be the starter, and just like it'll probably be like a 60-40 split, which honestly isn't bad because he was still extremely efficient in what he had last year, with Mostert having more work and like injury concerns, whatever. But yeah,
I think Mostert's going to get most of the red zone stuff.
I mean,
I think it's been split.
So
it was split when they were both healthy last year.
Yeah.
When they got inside the 20, Mostert would take one, Achane would take one, and then Achane would take another,
like
and then flip flop.
Yeah. And I think even with that, like the Dolphins are going to score enough points to where Achane's still going to be really good.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I think Achane, he's going to be. I think in most drafts this year, he's going to be under the radar because people are going to overlook him.
I think
So,
Achane would be better than Jahmyr Gibbs.
I don't disagree with it. I think if Mostert gets hurt and he doesn't and he's not healthy, that's even going to make him explode even more. So.
Oh, if Mostert gets hurt, Achane's gonna have like
Dude.
in a massive year. Like he's gonna be nuts.
Also, to your point of Montgomery having a big contract, I think the Lions' game plan is to not play Jahmyr Gibbs a ton so he doesn't get injured. And I think the Dolphins just want to use Achane as much as possible. Especially since Mostert is getting to that age. And don't get me wrong, Mostert's good, but I do think Achane's going to be the starter.
I think Achane's going to be elite.
Nope, I didn't hate that pick. I think that pick. I think that was a good pick.
I mean, it
Don't
makes sense with
necessarily
where
agree
you're
with
at.
your stuff on Diggs pick, but that's okay.
But like, why can't Diggs be good this year? Like, tell me why.
I didn't say he can't be good. I just don't think Diggs is going to be the top receiver on Houston this year. I think Nico Collins is going to have a great year.
Yeah.
Do I think Diggs will have over 1,000 yards? Yeah, I think there's a shot that he'll have over 1,000 yards. I just don't think that Diggs is going to have a Diggs type year.
I look at Diggs.
And here's the other thing. Diggs, Diggs' attitude over the last couple of years, I think has affected his play.
I disagree. I think it's made him better. Diggs has always been the one dude on the team who is the main focus for defenses. Now he has Hank Dell and he has Nico Collins. It's going to make Diggs that much better. And Diggs is still going to be the number one wide receiver, and CJ Stroud is going to ball out. So
on top of it, then they have Joe Mixon and Noah Brown as their wide receiver 4. Like I think Diggs is going to have like a really solid year. I don't know if I would have taken him over Mike Evans, but I think somewhere here in this third round, probably later in the third, early fourth is where I would have taken him. But
I look at Diggs as a cheaper Ayuk. Like, even if you think he's going to be the number 2, like, there's a bunch of mouths to feed in San Francisco. There's a bunch of mouths to feed in Houston. I think Diggs is better than Ayuk, just as like a sole football perspective. Like the situations are similar. And I think Stroud's
I
better
just
than
think Diggs isn't going to have as great a year as everybody thinks. That's what my gut's telling me, and that's what I go with.
fair enough.
Oh,
Moving
did I
on.
mention I was the champ last year? So
Pacheco. Tell me about Pacheco.
so here's my opinion about the Chiefs. They've got the best coach in the NFL in Andy Reid. Andy Reid adapts his offense. I hear what you're saying, Ryan, about Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that. But here's what I think is going to happen this year. I think the Chiefs, especially at the beginning of the year, are going to become more run focused, and they're going to use Pacheco a lot. They're not going to have Rashid Rice. Yes, they got Patrick Mahomes. Yes, they got Travis Kelce. And I get it. They haven't had a number one. What they did last year was great. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not high on the Chiefs this year. I don't. I think that they'll adapt, but I think that teams are catching up to them, and I don't. I think they're going to have a struggle this year making the playoffs.
In their division?
Listen, I know everybody looks at their division and they think that it's going to be the Chiefs automatically, right? But
Yeah.
listen, the Raiders played really strong at the end of the year last year. The Broncos, yes, they're most likely not going to challenge for the division, but you can't bet against Sean Payton. Yeah, he's an older coach and stuff like that, but he's coming into his second year. He's got a quarterback that he wants to use, and he finds a way to make the offense work. But the team that I think the team in that division that I think everybody's going to overlook is the Chargers. Listen, I'm not a huge Jim Harbaugh fan, but when he coached at San Francisco, he didn't have he didn't have a great amount of talent there either. The Chargers have a solid defense. Harbaugh likes to run the ball. He likes to use the time of possession and stuff. I think that division is going to be like the AFC North. They're going to beat up each other, and I think any one of those teams can win it.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think, okay, like the Chargers were supposed to have this like solid defense last year too, and they couldn't even like compete in games like they should have won. And like you had better talent on the offensive side too. Like you just literally got rid of your two best receivers on your team. Now your wide receiver one is Joshua Palmer. You have what, two rookies coming in. Quinton Johnston, whatever his name is, was a dud last year. Like,
Ryan has something to say.
I just don't want to skip over this. I'm gonna disagree with you again, Bob. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. Let's just get that sunk in your head. Yes, they're losing Rashid Rice, but like you said, they still have the yeah. And they obviously still have the best coach in the league. I don't think they're going to switch anything up. I think they're going to do exactly what they did last year, and I think they're going to not run more because they have more weapons at wide receiver now. Maybe you think that because Rashid Rice is out for the first 4 weeks, but why would they risk Pacheco getting hurt to play Clyde or Cedric Prince or whatever his name is? I think they're going to do the same exact game plan they did last year and just adapt on the fly. And they have Hollywood Brown now and Xavier Worthy.
I agree with what Ryan said. I also think Pacheco is going to be good. This is not just like overlook Pacheco. I feel like he's good. He's going to score touchdowns and he's going to catch passes. He's going to be good. But is he going to come into like a Derrick Henry type of workload? No.
But I do think your pick there was the best pick you could have made because you needed a running back. Yeah. And it was either Pacheco or Rachaad White. And I think either one of them, I personally would have took Rachaad White, but I think either one of them's the right pick.
Well, here's my hot take for anybody that listens. It would not surprise me if the Chiefs do not make the playoffs this year. Everybody can sit there and say that the Chiefs are going to win the division,
I would wager
but
you
teams are catching up to them.
and not like nobody in their division
I
is
would
gonna
bet my net worth.
like what teams
They're
catching
catching up to
My
them,
net
guys.
worth.
Like
That's
the
my
Jets?
hot take.
And I'm
Did-
sorry, but Travis Kelsey is still dating Taylor Swift. Your prediction there is just no.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey is distracted, old, and he did not play well last year during the season. He is going the opposite direction. And yes, they got Hollywood Brown. But Hollywood Brown, he's not the answer. I'm just saying. That's just my take. We can move on though.
Someone cut this man's mic
I
off.
mean, I think it's a little faded on the Kelsey point. I do think
Jalen
Pacheco there is like pretty good, and I do think he'll be utilized more. I don't think they're going to change to a running type offense, but they don't have Jerick McKinnon, and I think they're going to use Pacheco more in the passing game. So I don't know. That's all I have to say about it. I think Kelsey is going to be fine. I think that's a little faded, but
Moving on.
Jalen Waddle. Well, of the receivers like that went in the next round too, I was kind of like going back and forth between Waddle, Metcalf, and Pittman. I think those three of those like what 6 in that area were the guys that I was going to be choosing from. I was kind of hoping that Pacheco would drop a little bit because I wanted to take him, but I think Waddle's going to bounce back from last year because he had a really mediocre year last year, and I think his year this upcoming year is going to be quite a bit better.
I think Waddle's gonna be really good. I would take him over Debo and DJ Moore. I think he did really good there.
See, I was like on the fence between him and Pittman, but I just don't know how Richardson and Pittman are going to be this year because they really didn't have like a strong connection last year, and a lot of
Yeah.
Pittman's production came from Minshew.
And JT's back, and they added AD Mitchell.
Yeah.
I like. He did good. Moving on. CJ Stroud.
Honestly, I think he's just gonna go for a shit ton of passing touchdowns this year, and I think he's gonna have more points than Mahomes. That's the only reason I pick him.
And then you also picked him over DK too. When you talked about you considered picking DK there.
I felt like if I let Stroud go, that he would have just been snagged by the time it came back to me next round. Like, yeah, I really wanted to take DK because I think DK is really good and he's the clear-cut wide receiver one in that Seahawks offense, but I kind of just wanted to guarantee Stroud.
Fair. That's fair. Moving on. Would you like to speak about James Cook without causing any
Well,
controversy?
the only reason I took him was because DK was taken. So had DK been there, I probably would have taken DK
But
as my pick.
why James Cook over Mixon or Kamara?
I took Cook because I just feel like Cook's going to have a really good season. I think that I don't think that the Bills have done enough to. I think the Bills have got a plan right now with their offense, and I don't think it's going to be a pass happy plan. Yeah, they got a rookie receiver. They've got Kincaid and stuff, but I think that James Cook is going to be more active in the offense. So,
I agree with that.
and I felt that, I just felt that he was my best option for running back at that point. And, the only reason, as you guys know, last year in fantasy, the only reason I got rid of him is because I don't like to have my quarterback and running backs on my same fantasy team. That's the only reason I got rid of Cook last year. I just don't like that combination for fantasy. So that's just me. So, that's why I took Cook. I thought at the time, that he would be a good match with Checo and I'd have a good solid, starting two running backs. And to be quite honest with you, I was surprised I got somebody else later in the draft at running back because I think he's going to be a solid running back this year as well. So
Anyways, moving on. Then I went Cup, Mahomes, Devontae Smith. I took Smith. I would have picked either Smith or Cup. Those were kind of the two that I was in between. I still have faith in Cooper Cup, and I still think Devontae Smith is just like he's been consistent his first 2 years. He's been really good alongside AJ Brown. The Eagles' offense is going to score a lot of points. Not a lot of expectation. Moving on. Right.
I took Zay Flowers. I think the Ravens are still going to be a top team in the NFL. They're still going to make the playoffs. I think Lamar is going to be the same old Lamar. And Zay Flowers had a really good rookie year, and I think he's going to be that much better next year. Moving on to Kamara. I took Kamara over Kenneth Walker because if Kamara can stay healthy the whole year, I think Kamara is still going to be dominant. I still think he's going to be a pass catching running back. He's still going to get all the touches and all the touchdown looks that he has been getting. I think Kamara would have been a top 4 running back last year if he wasn't out for the first few weeks. And yeah.
Coming to me with Trey McBride, the way I look at the top tight ends, as in Kelsey, Laporta, Kincaid, McBride, like Kittle and Andrews, I look at them basically as all the same. Because if you think of all the guys that can finish as tight end 1, it's kind of those 6. And if you look at it last year, Laporta was tight end 1, and tight end 5 was whoever, like Evan Ingram or whatever. They were all the top 5 were all split apart by like less than 1 per game. So realistically, they're all around the same. So getting to be able to get McBride in the 5th round after Laporta and Kelsey in the 2nd, I would much rather have McBride or Andrews or Kittle in the 5th round rather than the Kelsey or Laporta in like the 2nd or 3rd. So I thought that was I thought I kind of got gifted him there. Moving on.
you did. That was a good pick. I think that you made a great pick with McBride. Because I honestly think that Kincaid and Kelsey went too early. That's just my opinion because I like Kincaid, but I think that there's a few other tight ends that are gonna have a better year, and that's why I drafted Andrews. I know Andrews is coming off of an injury, but he did. I think him and Lamar just have a great connection, and I'll be honest, I was happy I was able to get him there when I did, because had you not drafted McBride and he came to me, I probably would have drafted McBride, but I was happy to get Andrews. I took him over. The only reason I took him over Kyle Pitts is because I just think that if Andrews is healthy, he's showing consistency with Lamar, and I do think Kyle Pitts is going to have a great year with Cousins, but I got to give the edge to Andrews.
Lamar and Andrews are nuts together, so I don't disagree with that pick there.
Moving on. Brandon.
George Pickens. I think I kind of got gifted Pickens a little bit here. I thought he would have gone like earlier in the 5th round, being the clear-cut wide receiver 1 on that Steelers offense. I think he's actually going to have a pretty solid year. Like, yeah, he had his issues last year and the year before, but that's just terrible quarterback play, in all honesty. And I think Deontay Johnson not being there now is, at least from a fantasy perspective, is going to be really good for Pickens. I think he's going to have a good like 1,300 plus yards this year and a decent amount of touchdowns. So I think getting him here, for me at least, was super nice, especially with the options I had on the table. I don't know if I would have really picked anyone else.
You like him over T. Higgins?
I do.
And Mark.
You know what? Pickens is a hard one for me because I think that he has a lot of growing up to do. And but I do think he's really talented. My biggest question around him is, you know, how is his connection? How is Russell Wilson going to do in that offense? You know, so Russell Wilson had some really great receivers. He had some really good receivers in Denver, and he didn't really show much. So if Russell Wilson can come out and play like the Russell Wilson of old, I think Pickens is going to have, you know, a great year. I think if Russell Wilson comes out and he plays like he did last year, I think Pittsburgh's going to have a tough year. Either way, he's got to throw to somebody, and he's got Pickens, so I can see why you took him there.
Then you came back and went Swift. I like that pick, taking him over Harrison Connor.
Honestly, my only other option there that I was thinking about taking would have been Stevenson, which might be viewed as taking him too early, but I think of the four there, like Stevenson and Swift to me are at least the closer to compared to like Connor and Harris. I think just with Harris splitting a decent amount of reps with Warren last year, it was harder for me to pick him. And then I don't know, James Conner's just always been kind of inconsistent. So
Sure.
I think Stevenson would have been like probably a top like 8 running back last year if he wasn't hurt throughout different bulks of it.
Bob, tell me why Terry McLaurin is going to be the wide receiver 1 this year.
I think that Jaden Daniels, to me, is going to have the best year out of all the rookie quarterbacks. And I just feel like I don't know if that's going to calculate into wins for the Commanders, but I just think that McLaurin and him are going to build some chemistry, and I just feel like McLaurin's been in a really tough spot his years with Washington. I mean, the guy can't catch a break with, having a consistent quarterback. So now that they drafted McDaniels the way they did, I just think that he's gonna have a really good year. And I just felt like he was the best option there over some of the other wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, I love Jordan Addison, but I just I'm just not convinced and sold on him right now until I see what the Vikings quarterback play is going to be like.
So my thing with McLaurin is, right, so you say he has had bad quarterback play, but Sam Howell threw for 1,000,000 yards last year. Like, I don't know what exactly it was, but I'm pretty sure he was top 5 in passing. And like he still couldn't get it done. And every year it's McLaurin's so talented, but his quarterback situation just isn't great. And then he's just like, okay. But like Sam Howell was top 5 in passing last year, and like he still couldn't get it done. And now you bring in a rookie behind a terrible offensive line, a rookie quarterback that likes to run the ball, when Sam Howell was just chucking it up, and like we still weren't making it happen. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We'll just call a spade and move on here.
McLaurin still had over 1,000 yards, and he still had over 200 points from a fantasy football perspective. So not getting it done, I don't know what that means, but
so he finished as wide receiver 30. I don't know what you drafted him as here. What like wide receiver off the board he was, but like, I mean, like he'll finish as like around the wide receiver 30, and we'll call it good. Like was he great last year? No. Was he solid? Yeah. Do I think the situation
no.
got
But
better?
if you look at all the other receivers that were available,
I mean,
he was the best one at the time to draft.
He is around that 32 spot for wide receivers, so
yeah,
in this draft. So
yeah. I mean, Addison there, Rice, Hollywood Brown. Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's not a terrible pick. I just don't think he's going to be like, I don't think he's gonna like exceed like that wide receiver 30 number. Like I feel like his ceiling is kind of capped. But
No, I disagree with you, but that's okay. We'll see.
I think like
That's
McLaurin's always had like an issue though having like a second solid receiver on the team to help free him up just as much. Like I think Daniels being able to be mobile as a quarterback might be able to open up something a little bit for McLaurin because I don't know, he just really hasn't had like a lot of extra talent around him.
Yeah. Moving on. I picked Burrow. It was between him and Addison. I thought they had a pretty solid receiving core. And Joe Burrow sitting there. I like him over Dak and Love, even though it's relatively close. I like Burrow in the situation, even though I also really like Addison. But I think Burrow is going to be healthy this year and really good.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. There is 7 tight ends who got picked over the second best tight end last year. Let's all just take a moment to think about this. All right. I think the Jaguars are going to be very slept on this year. I don't think a lot of people have faith in the Jaguars, especially now that Calvin Ridley is not with them. But I think that's going to open up even more opportunities for Evan Ingram. And I'm just going to let you know right now that Evan Ingram is going to do better than George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, and Dalton Kincaid. Thank you. Then with my next pick, Hollywood Brown. I know earlier that you said he is not the answer to the Chiefs, and I completely disagree. I think Hollywood Brown has shown with Lamar Jackson that he can be a really good wide receiver. I think the two people in this draft that are the closest to Tyreek Hill is Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and I think the Chiefs are really smart for getting Hollywood Brown, and they definitely know what they're doing. And
Well,
he's
I
going
don't
to be
disagree with you about with Ingram, because if you saw my AFC South dream team, Ingram was my tight end. So I do disagree with you that he's going to have a better year than Andrews, but I do agree with you that he's going to have a better year than the other tight ends. So I think you got him at a steal when you did. So I applaud your pick there. And listen, Hollywood Brown, maybe he'll have a great year, but he played 14 games last year. He was with his college quarterback. Yeah, he had a good connection with Lamar, but I just don't see every time the Chiefs bring in a wide receiver, he's the receivers for the Chiefs never end up producing the way people think they're going to produce.
See, I would be taking Hollywood Brown over old Terry McLaurin, who has a rookie QB that's not proven. I think I would take Hollywood Brown with the system, with the Andy Reid system, and the best QB in the league, over old McLaurin. Also,
McLaurin is 1 year older.
Hollywood Brown's coming in. He already had an issue before going like 125 miles per hour, getting pulled over. So we don't have to worry about him getting arrested. But we will see him go 125 miles on the field. That's for sure.
It's funny how he's only 1 year younger than McLaurin, but McLaurin is an old guy.
And to prove this point too, McLaurin's had more 1,000-yard seasons. Brown's only done it once in his 5 years in the league. Brown has finished at best 22nd at wide receiver. You look outside of that 1 year, he's finished 36 as his best. He hasn't been able to chain together, not even with Lamar,
Cool.
like
Q,
one
you know
solid
your
year.
stats. That's lovely. Guess what? Hollywood Brown now is in the Chiefs system with the best QB in the league. You both are delusional. Now hush, next person.
Sitting in this spot picking him is fine, but like you're gassing up way more than he should be gassed up right now. He hasn't done anything to prove himself in the league yet.
I'm going to take Hollywood Brown on the Super Bowl championship team rather than Terry McLaurin with Jaden Daniels, who, again, is not with the best rookie QB, which was a really hot take that you said. That's also why I took Caleb Williams when I did, because he will be the best rookie QB with the most weapons on the best team out of all the rookie QBs.
Well, Ryan, I'm glad you stand by your convictions, but I'm telling you, McLaurin's going to have a better season than Hollywood Brown, and the champ has spoken.
Well, if you draft the team you just drafted, trust me, you're going to be where I was last year. So.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Thank you for the content.
Those are big words from the last place team.
Yeah, and that's
2
where
years
you're
straight.
going to be this year with that team.
Wait, I think that's
But
is that the last
anyways,
place team 2
how
years
about we
straight?
I
go
bet
on
if
to
we do a
Stevenson?
poll on this video, I guarantee you my team will be ranked higher than your team.
I don't care what people think about my team. I go with what my gut says. Everybody thought I wasn't going to do well last year, and oh wait, I forget who
I
won
don't
the
think
championship.
anybody said. I don't think a single person has said that.
So, anyways, Ethan, you took Stevenson. What was your
Yeah.
thought process there?
I didn't love it. I didn't really like Mostert with A-Chan already, especially for my RB2. I needed a running back. I don't like Eckler. I think B-Rob's going to be the better running back there. Zamir White, he's in contention to just like lose his job. Like I feel like he's going to be like there's going to be like a Damian Pierce type thing to where he's like a mid-round running back when there's like on like a and everyone's just kind of like on him and just like someone's going to come in and take over. Like I don't know. Stevenson, I feel like out of all the running backs there is in I also don't really like Pollard. I think him and Spears are going to be a 50-50 split, and I would rather have Spears a few rounds later. I feel like Antonio Gibson's going to eat away at it a little bit. I'm just kind of betting on the upside that he just catches a bunch of passes from Drake May, and it has like an efficient year on a not good offense. I didn't love it, but it was kind of had a forced hand there, and I feel like he was the best out of all the options there. So
I didn't think it was a bad pick. I think I think there was a couple other guys I would have picked over him, but I can see why you picked them. I think Zamir White's going to have a tremendous year this year. I think that he's in a great situation. They got rid of Jacobs. They brought in Alexander Mattson. Mattson's proven year after year that he's a number 2 back at best. He couldn't get the job done with the Vikings last year. He's not even gonna compete with White for the starting position this year. White's, I followed White in the offseason. Dude is a beast. I think he's gonna have a breakout year. I think had they not had Jacobs last year, he probably would have had a lot better year. And when Jacobs was hurt, he filled in and did a great job. And so that's why I took him where he's at. But you guys know how I am. I put more value on wide receivers than I do running backs. So I'm perfectly fine with the running backs that I got. And to be quite honest, I'm surprised that White dropped down as far as he did.
I'm honestly not that surprised he did because he could be splitting reps for Madison with Madison for all we know. And don't get me wrong, he's going to be that starting back, but I don't know.
I feel like he's going to score a lot of points, and like there's a chance Madison's the goal line back. There's a chance there's not. I just don't feel like they're going to be very good. They're not going to score a lot of points. I don't think he's a very efficient runner. They don't have a very good O-line. They don't have very good quarterback play. Moving on.
Time will tell.
Anyways.
So Brandon, what about Ridley?
Well, I was going to take White here or Stevenson if Stevenson somehow dropped down. I don't think I thought this one through. I should have taken Deontay. And then I didn't do it the next round. I don't know what I was thinking here in this spot. But of the 2 receivers in Tennessee, I think Ridley's going to have the better year. So I guess that's the only argument I could really take. I wanted to take Reed, but I just don't know who to pick from the Packers offense with the receivers to really pull the trigger on Reed.
Are we sure he's gonna have a better year than D-Hop?
Yes.
He didn't have a better year than Christian Kirk last year, so I feel like
Trevor Lawrence was his quarterback. Inconsistent.
Wow.
I think
Wow.
I think
Listen,
the Titans
he
are
just came
not
off a
going to be as bad
suspension.
as people think they are.
yeah. And Will Levis is his quarterback. Are you saying Will Levis is better than Trevor Lawrence?
I'm not saying he's necessarily better, but I think he'll be more consistent throwing
I'm
the
saying
ball to
Trevor
Ridley.
Lawrence has got overpaid. What has Trevor Lawrence done to deserve $50 million a year?
That's what the market value is. He's a young quarterback who's good.
He didn't deserve them. He didn't. Listen, Tua, the Dolphins don't want to pay Tua, and Tua
Is way
crushed
better.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but Tua has 5 concussions.
But also look at Ridley though. Like he would have had a much better year if Lawrence could actually throw the ball consistently good to him.
I completely disagree there. If you go watch the film, like any football enthusiast has, Trevor Lawrence or Calvin Ridley missed so many just perfect catches. What you want out of a wide receiver, and like we've been saying with the Vikings with Justin Jefferson every single year, is throw it somewhere in his vicinity and he's going to catch the ball. And that is exactly what Trevor Lawrence did. That's exactly what wide receivers want them to do. And they were dots, and Calvin Ridley sold the ball.
Hey,
Completely
Ryan,
disagree.
I don't disagree that he dropped some passes last year and missed some opportunities. But let me tell you this. There was a lot of times where Calvin Ridley was wide open and Trevor Lawrence completely missed him. And I
And
did
you can
watch the
say that
film.
about any QB in the league.
Hey, I get it, but here's the thing that people are missing the fact of. Calvin Ridley, I think, is going to have he now that he's been back for a year, he's going to have his legs back underneath him. It was taking him it took him a while to get his game legs back on. And I think Will Levis is going to he proved last year when he played that he can throw the ball because he obviously had a great connection with D-Hop. I think that Will Levis is going to have a better year than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is overrated. Just my 2 cents. So, Brandon, what do you want to say about Jake Ferguson?
I think in this spot, I really had no choice but to take Ferguson over like Bowers or Schultz or even Hawkinson at this point. So it was really just kind of like the best option at tight end, and I didn't draft one yet. So,
Pick. He's a really good pick.
and I think his connection with Dak, yes, I know you're a Dak hater because, oh, Cowboys, whatever, but he showed that he can play like football. I mean, he had I think it was top 8 performance last year at tight end, minimum top 10. Like he had decent points. So
He was a tight end 9. And I mean, he's like for a tight end this round at this late, like he's gonna get you consistently like 10
yeah.
to 12 points. It was a really good pick.
Otherwise, I would have taken Deontay or a receiver, but I needed a tight end. So
Well, I'm glad you took Jake because that allowed me to take Deontay. So, I think Deontay's fell into the perfect situation. That's just my opinion. I think he's he's with Adam Thielen, who's an experienced leader on the team at wide receiver. I think Deontay was thrown into a really bad situation last year with Pickens. I don't think either one of them were what you would consider a locker room leader for that wide receiver room, just because of their age and their maturity. So I think Deontay getting out of there and going to Carolina is going to be actually a great move for him, especially with Adam Thielen there. They have a couple other decent wide receivers on that team as well. I think Bryce Young uh, is going to have improvement. Is he going to be the best quarterback? No, but I think that Deontay's going to have I think he's going to have a rebound season. I know some people might not want to compare it, might not understand the comparison, but Chris Carter didn't, when Philadelphia let him go and he came to Minnesota, that was the best move that ever happened for Chris Carter, and he became a Hall of Fame wide receiver. And I think Deontay has a second chance, just like Carter does here, to rebound, and I think he's going to take advantage of it. So
I think out of all your statements today, this was the best take you've had so far. I would
well,
agree with
thank you,
everything you
Ryan. I
said.
appreciate that.
I think Chris Harris is a little wild, but I mean, like, yeah, he's gonna be pretty good.
I also think Bryce Young is going to have a better year. I think Bryce Young it was very unfortunate with the situation he had last year, with McCaffrey gone and then DJ Moore leaving. But yeah, I think Deontay Johnson's going to for sure be the wide receiver one, and him and Bryce Young will have a good connection. But
Yeah, I agree. I think Bryce Young was, because of what CJ Stroud did last year. I think that I think that was an unfair comparison for Bryce Young, because I just think that Carolina did not help him.
Yeah, their offense sucked. I mean, when Adam Thielen's your wide receiver one at like 35 or however old he is, that's kind of sad. Like, Mingo was so hyped up to be good last year, and he really just didn't do anything. Their run game didn't help either because their run game was horrid all year. So, like, I don't know. They weren't set up at all to like have a good year behind Bryce.
No, and they drafted Jonathan Brooks. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to have a good season. I think Mingo, and Ethan would probably agree with me, I think Mingo's still talented. And I think bringing in Deontay and having Deontay and Thielen and Mingo, I do think Mingo's he's gonna have a lot of growth this year.
I think Mingo's the wide receiver 4. I think Xavier Legette is going to have a big year.
Mingo's gonna barely sniff the field.
Yeah.
And Ryan, you could be right. I don't disagree with that. I personally think that Mingo's gonna show some growth this year. I think the guy's got talent.
I think he's moving in the wrong direction. He's going to be the wide receiver 4 this year. He might move down to wide receiver 5 if who is it, Brandon Marshall Jr. I think is also, yeah.
Anyways, after that, I picked Javonte. I was really hoping D Hop was gonna fall to me. Didn't. I'm not super high on Javonte. I'm not a huge fan of Brian Thomas. Watson, I considered. Just a lot of question marks around him. And JSN, I don't know. Like, I can understand a little bit of hype around him, but I feel like Lockett's not going anywhere. Like, JSN will be all right. But anyways, I went with Javonte mainly for depth reasons. I mean, I have that RB1 and Achan, and I just kind of wanted some pieces around it just to fill into my RB2 slot. And Javonte has the potential, like the upside is there, like we talked earlier with Sean Payton, of the chance of him being good and of him catching a lot of check down passes. There's a chance he's good. There's a chance he's horrible and he gets cut and he doesn't play for my fantasy team anymore. It was mainly a depth move, but that's just that. And we'll move on.
Yeah, you know what, Javonte, I think he's going to end up not being with the Broncos before the season starts. That's my personal opinion. And whether that's they trade him or they cut him, I think that I think you might be a little bit too high on him. That's my opinion. I think that Jalen Warren, Zach Moss, Blake Corum, I think even Troy Benson were all better options at that point. But I think Javonte is in Peyton's doghouse and he's going to be gone.
I mean, in this spot, I think picking like Zach Moss or even Coleman would have been better than Williams, but I also think McLaughlin, even if Williams is there, is going to have a pretty solid year as their running back.
But you made up for it because you got Jalen Warren the next round, Ethan, which I think is a steal.
Anyways, right. Tell me about C. Watt and Caleb.
I took C. Watt right here. I feel like I needed a wide receiver just in case my prediction of Zay Flowers and Hollywood Brown not having a big year. I think Christian Watson is going to be considered a sleeper this year. I think he's very low in this draft. I don't think he really got the chance to prove himself last year because he was injured most of the year. But I think Jordan Love's hype is going to continue to grow, and Jordan Love's going to continue to grow as a QB. And I still think Christian Watson and Jaden Reed will be good options for Jordan Love.
I like
Then
the pick. I think the only question mark around Watson is his health.
yeah, and I was Jackson Smith and the Jigba. I mean, I don't mind him, but I was debating between Keon Coleman. But I also needed a QB. I had a feeling that you were gonna take a QB this round, so I took Caleb Williams, who will be the best rookie this year. He has 3 really good weapons with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, and I think Rome Odunze is going to be a good third wide receiver
Cole
for
Kmet
the
too.
team. What was that?
Cole Kmet too.
Cole Kmet, yeah. Um, yeah, and I think Caleb Williams is in a really good situation for being a rookie. And the Bears, I think the NFC North is going to be a top 2 division this year. I think there's a lot of talent in the NFC North. So
Yeah, and I think that between him and Brock, like, I mean, it's kind of a flip a coin between those two. I think they're both going to be really good.
yeah, a lot of high scoring games also.
Of the quarterbacks remaining, I thought Caleb was the best option that you could have picked. So, anyways, I went on and picked Warren. He'll be good. I do think Najee is going to be better, and kind of the main dude, but Warren will still catch his passes, and he'll be hopefully a good RB2 flex option. Kind of throughout the year. I think he'll be solid. Moving on, Bob, talk to me about Jared Goff.
I think Jared Goff is underrated. I think that he's found his new home with Detroit. I think with St. Brown, Laporta, with Montgomery and Gibbs. I think Goff is set up to have a great year. He had a great year last year. I don't see anything that says any otherwise. So that's why I picked him, and I'm comfortable with him as my starter. Brandon, you want to jump into yours?
TJ Hawkinson, I mean, of the players remaining, once he's healthy, I think he was going to be the best, like, point wise here of the players. And I thought it was just like a little nice backup option to have in case Ferguson just didn't have a good year. But for me, like, the only other player in this spot that I personally would have picked would have been Brian Robinson, but I thought I could wait till the next round. And I almost got him with where I wanted him, so um, aside from that, like, there's just like I don't have any faith in Sutton as a receiver. Dobbs, it's just hard for me to pick a Green Bay wide receiver right now because I don't know. The only other guy in this spot I would have thought of taking in the next round when I took Brown would have been Jacoby Myers, but um, I wasn't 100% sold on my running backs, or at least my second running back in Swift. I should say I have Brees Hall, but felt like I needed a backup in Brown, and I think Zach Moss could have a decent year there for the Bengals, but Brown will be utilized more in the passing game. And at the end of the day, pass catching running back in a PPR league, I had to take Chase Brown there and with my pick.
Yeah, I don't think that was a bad pick. I like the Chase Brown pick.
Well, back to you, Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah, this is probably the one pick I would second guess myself on. And this goes back to what Ryan had said. I didn't, I walked into this not completely prepared, and the rankings on Sleeper are a little bit misleading. I think that Ethan's pick of Jacoby Myers was a steal. And after I picked Dobbs and realized Myers was still there, I taken Myers over Dobbs. That's just, but do I think Dobbs is going to be bad? No, I just think that I think it just kind of all depends on, um, who Love feels comfortable throwing with. So, but that's probably the one pick had I had it to do it over again, I would have picked Myers. So kudos on that pick, Ethan, because I think that Jacoby Myers was a good pick at that time.
Appreciate that. That really means a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think Jacoby Myers is good. He's a vet. He's been proven. It's gonna be fine. He's gonna be solid. For a bench guy to fill in for my already pretty good receiving core, as my wide receiver 4, I think he'll be just fine. Right.
Nope. I think you did great. And Ryan, I think your Jamison Williams pick was a really good pick as well.
Yeah.
Just FYI,
Yeah.
Considering.
the only reason I wouldn't pick, the only reason I was hesitant about Williams is because I had already drafted Goff, and I'm just not a huge guy that likes to have the same receiver and quarterback on the same team. That's just me. I'm more of a QB tight end guy. Like if I get this, like a Laporta, Goff, or Mahomes, Kelsey, or that type of combination, I'm okay with. But yeah, I really like both of your guys' pick in this round, along with Brandon's. I think all three of you made really good picks.
Yeah. I think the Lions are still going to be good this year. I think Goff is still going to be good, and Jamison Williams is the wide receiver 2. So him on my bench will be nice. Same with Jerry Jeudy going to Cleveland. Pairing him up with Amari Cooper, I think Jerry Jeudy will also be good, and I think I got him for a steal.
Yeah.
You
Well,
did.
and
I
who
like
knows if
that pick
Cooper's going
too.
to be
I
in
think
Cleveland
Judy
still.
is going to be a sleeper.
Yeah, I agree. I think Judy's gonna be good. I hope, honestly, for both of them, if they can kind of fall into the Jordan Addison role of last year in the Vikings, I think both of them will be really good, especially Jameson Williams, just with the injuries that he's had and kind of the roles that he's played. If he can finally step into a bigger role of more than just a deep threat guy, I feel like he'll be really good. And I really like Judy. I've always liked him as a receiver. I thought he's been really good. Um, and his situation in Denver just never really panned out to be. I feel like he'll kind of turn into a Chris Carter, where he gets finally a second chance and be able to, thrive in his new situation and become a Hall of Fame receiver like Chris Carter. Anyways, moving on.
Mike Williams?
Yeah, Mike Williams. Honestly, this is kind of a bet on the talent. Obviously, he's been injured a lot. I like to just exclude injuries. I don't like to bank in injury risk. Obviously, it's there. But give me the wide receiver 2 for the Jets alongside Garrett Wilson. I think he can be really successful and catch a lot of touchdowns alongside Garrett Wilson in New York.
Yeah, I like that pick, Ethan, too. The only knock I have on Williams is his health. But I think he's definitely going into a better situation. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think it's an equal situation because I think him and Allen were a good 1-2 punch with the Chargers. But I think going to the Jets and having Garrett Wilson, I think if he stays healthy, Rodgers is definitely going to find him, especially in the end zone deep. I think I don't know that anybody can argue, but Rodgers' accuracy throwing deep is, he's been pretty good over the years, right? So I can definitely see Mike Williams having a bounce back year if he stays healthy.
Ty Chandler over Chuba Hubbard. It's an interesting one.
Well, first we got Kirkle, right? I took Kirkle in that round.
Kirkle, yeah. I forgot.
I took
right.
Kirk Cousins. Enough said.
I
Got
think it
nothing there?
was too early of a pick.
Yeah, I thought you could have got him a little bit
What
later.
was
You
that?
got him when you got McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably could have, but I was okay with it because I just
I think you missed
I like
out
the
on
idea of
Jerome
having
Ford.
them. What was that?
I think you should have drafted Jerome Ford.
Yeah, or you could have got like a Adam Thielen.
Yeah, you could have waited around to get Cousins.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you guys. There probably was some other options I could have did, and I could have waited on them a little bit. Definitely. And had I prepared myself more, probably, but you're definitely right. I could probably went a different direction there, but I'm still okay with it.
Ford and Thielen.
Well, I think I got gifted with Ford. I thought my dad would have taken him, so I just strengthened up my bench there from a running back perspective. And then Adam Thielen, I was kind of going back and forth between him and Joshua Palmer. I just think Thielen right now is the better option, but Palmer is really talented. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just felt more comfortable taking Thielen here in the spot. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't mind the Ford pick. I'm just not totally convinced that Ford's going to get the workload and have as efficient year. They brought in Foreman, and not knowing when Chubb's going to come back, I think makes it a little bit more difficult too. Because obviously, whenever Chubb comes back, I think Ford's production is going to go down.
Oh,
Because they're not
100% will, yeah.
So, and I don't disagree with the Thielen one because I think, Thielen, Thielen had over 1,000 yards last year, I believe. So I believe, right? So,
yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if Thielen comes out again. The thing I'm kind of hearing though is that there's a lot of rumblings about him possibly getting traded. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Anyways.
The big trade talk right now is they're looking for a safety, and there's talk that they might consider trading Thielen for Lewis Seen. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but
Interesting. I also got.
I went with Ty Chandler. I went with Ty Chandler that round because I wanted to have just one more running back. I think Ty Chandler proved himself last year that he could be an efficient running back, and with Aaron Jones, I think Aaron Jones could have a great year, but I also think Aaron has a history with injuries. So, if for some reason something happened to Jones, then that's going to probably make Chandler the guy. And so that would give me another option to consider, if one of my other guys stumbled. So that's kind of why I went with Chandler.
Are you still taking Chandler if the Vikings were to sign Akers?
Yeah, because I think the Vikings are high on Chandler. And I think that he's still going to get. I think Akers is going to be the number 3 guy, and I see Akers being used more in a relief role and special teams. And I think that if Jones and Chandler stay healthy, they're going to be the 1-2 punch for the Vikings.
I agree with that. I moved on and went Josh Palmer. I mean, to get a wide receiver 1 on an offense with Justin Herbert in, I don't know what round this is, the 12th round. I think that's kind of a steal. I feel like last year in his when he stepped into the wide receiver 2 role, he filled in just fine. Obviously, stepping up to a wide receiver 1 role is a tougher task to do, but I mean, he's attached to Justin Herbert. If what Bob says is true and the Chargers are going to win the division over the Chiefs, I mean, obviously Palmer's got to have a good year, right? I think Josh Palmer's be good. He's a depth piece, but the upside I believe is there. And at this point in the draft, you're kind of just like hoping for some upside and some guys that could pop. And I feel like Josh Palmer could be one of those guys.
Yeah, I thought that was a good pick too, Ethan. So.
Right.
I took Rico. I really wanted J.K. Dobbins here, but I took Rico just in case. Well, he's probably going to split reps with Zeke, kind of like what they did with Zeke and Pollard. I think Rico is just a good 4th option for me. I think he'll run a lot of yards, but not be used that much in the red zone. But moving on, then I took Marshawn Lloyd. I don't know too much about Marshawn, but he could be a better option than A.J. Dillon, since he's the 3rd option for the Packers. But ultimately, just look at the picture. He's wearing a red suit, like just somebody you'd really take home to the mother. So that's kind of why I picked him.
Well, I'll say this much, and I'm not a huge Cowboys fan, as you guys know. But Ryan, I do think that you might have got a steal taking Rico there, because I don't think Zeke is gonna. I think Zeke, he's gonna be part of the offense, but it wouldn't surprise me if Rico ends up being a surprise this year. So I think that wasn't a bad pick at all.
Now the Lloyd one, I'm personally not sold on too much because I think Josh Jacobs will have a big bulk of the carries there, and then you never know who you're going to get between him and Dylan. And Dylan has shown like he can play pretty well from time to time. It's never consistent, but it's hard to judge who that like second guy is going to be there. And if you were to take a running back here, I personally would have taken Gibson because he's a receiving back and he will be in the game to relieve Stevenson there in New England. So for me, I probably would
Well,
have
let's
taken
be
Gibson,
honest.
but
Ryan took him because of his red suit. So
That's what I'm saying.
I like the Marshawn Lloyd pick. A couple reasons. One, I think AJ Dillon's trash, and I think he's kind of proven that over the years. He's a really good runner. He's not good on the goal line. He has big quads. That's about it. Secondly, Matt LaFleur's always ran a committee system. I mean, and for God's sakes, they were running a committee with AJ Dillon. Like, if we can get anybody better than AJ Dillon, I feel like they're going to run a committee a little bit more efficiently. And I also am not fully sold on Josh Jacobs for whatever reason. Just kind of a gut feeling. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there. I took Kendre Miller over Antonio Gibson, kind of because I already have Stevenson. Kendre Miller, probably kind of an unknown guy with the Saints running back. They drafted
no,
him.
he's not.
Day 2 guy last year for the Saints. Kind of an insurance policy for Kamara. If Kamara were to go down, I feel like he could step into a big role there. And the upside of it is it's like a 50-50 split with him and Kamara, and he's a serviceable like flex slot guy. If the chances that Kamara like does take a step back and Kendra takes a step up, they could be a splitting backfield, or if Kamara were to go down, he would step right in. That's the thought process.
I think that was a great pick. I think Miller has a lot of upside, and I think he's going to be more active in the Saints offense than people think this year.
True facts. Moving on. Tell me about Mr. McCaffrey here.
So this is my hot take right here.
Had plenty
Take it
of
to
them.
the bank, boys, because I know you guys are examining every move I make.
Nope.
But
Just about your team.
this guy right here, I think he's gonna really show some people how good he is. I get it. I mean, everybody talks about his brother, but this guy's I think he's gonna be a really good receiver in the league. I think he's gonna be a lot like his dad when his dad played for Denver, and I'm hearing a lot of rumblings around how well he's doing in camp, and I really think that he has a chance to actually overtake Dotson as the number 2 receiver in Washington.
Interesting.
I don't hate the pick.
Take it for what it's worth, boys, but there you go.
I don't hate the pick, but you want 2 receivers from the same team on your roster?
Listen, to me, it was late in the round, late in the draft, right? And if something happens with McLaurin, I think that he could step up. The other thing I was thinking is if he does pop off, you know me, guys, I like to trade, so.
Okay.
What's the thought process here, Brandon?
Well, Aaron Rodgers, I just wanted a backup quarterback, and it's A-Rod. Like, the dude is just a beast with the ball in his hands, so I feel like I don't need to explain too much from there. He's got the weapons around him, from Breece Hall to Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Lazard. Like, he has all he needs, so I feel like I don't need to do too much explaining there. Darnell Mooney, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have a hot take here. I think he's gonna have over 1,000 yards this year. I think he's gonna be one of 3 guys on this offense that I think have over 1,000 yards on their team, and I've been sticking to that. I think Pitts, Mooney, and London are all gonna have over 1,000 yards this year. That might be a hot take, but I just have this gut feeling Darnell Mooney's just gonna be a freak this year in fantasy, and I think getting him this late, for me at least, I consider a steal. He hasn't had like the best years there in Chicago outside of 1 year with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback quite some time ago, but I think he's a talented receiver. I think he'll fill a wide receiver 2 spot really well, kind of like Jordan Addison last year for Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk's gonna find him the ball quite a bit, along with Pitts and London. So yeah.
Yeah, you got him for free, so like I like it.
Yeah, I think that was a good pick, Brandon. I took the 49ers defense. Enough said.
Baker as a backup quarterback, I think he's a really good backup quarterback. He's consistent. For as my QB2, I have no problems with him being my QB2. We can probably skip ahead to.
I was gonna say I only took 1 QB for this draft. I'm sick of having the QB curse where all my QBs get hurt. Caleb Williams is gonna dominate for me this year. I took Cowboys defense, but ultimately the steal of the draft, of the whole entire draft, was Wan'Dale Robinson with Danny Dimes. Bring me to the championship. Let's run it.
Ryan, I think you need to draft 3 quarterbacks this year with your luck. So that's just my opinion, because at least you can cover the bases. But yeah, I don't hate your Wan'Dale Robinson pick, because I think that that wasn't too bad. So, Ethan, what did you want to say anything about your
defense is good.
last few picks.
They have Sauce Gardner. Green Bay's kicker. He's a rookie. So I don't know a lot about the rookie, but he plays for Green Bay, so he's got to make a lot of kicks, right?
I also do want to say this. I think a lot of people sleep on kickers and defense. I really do think kickers and defense separate fantasy games. Why take the Niners over the Cowboys? No idea. But the Cowboys would definitely win me some games with this team.
Hey, I wish you the best of luck. Every year I draft a cowboy that I've ever drafted a cowboy. The last time I did, they've always not done well. So I will never draft a cowboy again. But anyways, in regards to mine, yeah, uh, Ricky Purcell. I don't know if a lot of people, know him
We do.
that well, but I do think that he's going to be one of the receivers that could come out and have a really good year. So I think that I don't think he's going to have a Puka year, obviously, with their other weapons, but I do think that he's a guy that might be under the radar, and I do see him having a good year.
I think he might have been better off taking a New England receiver there, but like a Demario Douglas or KJ Osborne, or I don't know. I don't see him doing too much with the way that offense is already set up. But it's late in the draft, so I mean, this pick really doesn't impact your team much at all. So
No, and when I look at later in the draft, I'm kind of like most people. I'm kind of looking at, okay, who's somebody that hasn't been drafted that I think could possibly be a guy that has a year that nobody expects to have.
yeah, for me, like if I had to pick a receiver here, I don't hate the pick. It's like late in the draft, it's not gonna make like much of an impact. I probably would have taken a chance on one of the New England receivers. No one really knows who the wide receiver one's gonna be there. I would have taken Douglas personally. I thought he played pretty well last year, and I wouldn't hate to see if he grew a connection there with me. But I don't know anything about the Patriots right now, so I don't know. It doesn't like impact too much this late, so
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Well, hey guys, Brandon, I don't think you just drafted a defense and kicker. Did you want to say anything about that, or are you good?
nah, I don't really value them too high. Like, yeah, they get you points, but my kickers and defenses change throughout the year. So for me, drafting the Eagles, fine. Drafting Moody, 49ers will always be scoring, so that's just free point or 3 points or whatever it may be. So
Well, I just want to say, Ethan, Ryan, thanks for joining us for this mock draft. Really, appreciate you guys' insight and your thoughts. I know that we don't always agree on everything, but you know, that's what makes it fun, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think this was a great first mock draft, and I don't want to speak for Wigs, but I definitely hope we can do a few more of these with you guys. As we get closer to the NFL year, because I think that this is this will be beneficial for other people to see, and maybe they don't agree with us, maybe they do agree with us, right? Everybody's got a different take on different players, so thanks for you guys jumping in and giving your insight, because it's really appreciated on our end. Brandon, did you want to add anything?
nah, you covered it pretty good.
Ethan, Ryan, you guys got any last words?
Comment who the best team is. You already know what to do.
Yeah, we already know.
Yeah, well, and for everybody that's watching this,
Oh,
we'd
here we
welcome
go.
your comment on who you think out of the four of us drafted the best team. So that would be, it would be great, and not only tell us who you think drafted the best team, but tell us why you think that they have the best team. So your input would be greatly appreciated, and we definitely like to hear your opinion on how everybody did out of the four of us. So with that, if nobody else got nothing left to say, Brandon, I think we're good to go, right?
Yep, just make sure if you guys are enjoying our content, check us out on X, TikTok, Instagram, Fantasy Fools PPR, and then obviously you're here on YouTube already. Subscribe, like, comment to anything. Like, we will read anything from video ideas to, you know, my dad's team being bad or this or that. Like, you know how it goes. So, aside from that, we're gonna sign on off, and we'll see you guys next time.